Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 139 of Sold with Updike. Pugh.
I'm Jeff Updike.
I'm Weston Pugh, and you just caught me trying to share this show to my own page, but couldn't go quite fast enough. So,
barely made it.
I'm going to type the word homes and post it. There we go. Thank you so much for your patience. We really appreciate that. Okay, well, that's one way to start the show.
It is.
All right. So, market.
Market.
Lots going on right now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's kind of interesting market right now. We had so much opportunity to talk about real estate this weekend because
Everybody talked about real estate.
everybody. I went to I had one pool party. I went to two other pool parties.
Yep.
And it's just a fascinating topic to a lot of people right now.
Everybody wants to know what the market's doing, if the rumors, what they're hearing, are true. Some of them are, some of them are embellished. Mm-hmm. And I think that overall, people understand the grip. If this is a time for people to sell and it works out that way, it is amazing right now. Just got to remember, you got to have a place to go. And I think that's kind of where everybody kind of is like unsure of what to do.
It is. It's funny. We've had a couple of people that have reached out to us that are ready to cash out of their home. And they, like one of the people that we talked with yesterday, are some former clients that have an investment property that they've owned for several years. They bought that as a primary residence, and now they're thinking about, I don't know that they don't really want to be landlords, but they see that there's this opportunity to probably cash out double what they paid for it.
And it is interesting. We also have clients who finally are about to bring their spec homes on, which is really great, and some other clients that are doing the same thing, just kind of downsizing, and we'll see how it all plays out. But we'll be ready to go. So the market last week versus this week was very interesting. I would have sworn up and down that the numbers would have been completely different, given the fact that we had 4th of July. And typically when we see large 4-day weekends here in the Dallas area, for sure, we see a real drop in people staying in town. Therefore, showings diminish. But that wasn't the case. It was pretty much the same as last week. I wish we had side by side, but you're gonna have to take our word for it.
Yeah, it's really close. Like on the new listings for last week, last week they're right at 2,700. This week there's right at 2,400. Back on market, there were 581 last week, 542 this week. Under contract and option period, there were 2,119 last week, which were fresh into that, and there's 1,867 this week. The solds I thought was really interesting because it's almost right on the money compared to last week. Last week we had a little over 3,000. The week prior over 3,000, and then look at that.
All right, great producer over there.
Thank you. And then the coming soons. Last week there were 433, and this week there were 530, which does make sense because that's kind of that status that everything goes into right before it comes active onto the market.
And I think people need to understand that the coming soon is only available inside of Matrix. It is not a field that gets picked up by IDX feed, so it'll never show up on Zillow, any of the other websites. So if that's something that you want to stay in tune with, let us know, because we can actually set those up in portals so that you can be first on the know. A lot of times we are able to know the day that they're going to go live, and so we can be in on zero within an hour or so typically. So it's a great way to stay ahead of the market these days.
It really is. It makes a big difference in terms of just being able to have the knowledge about new listings that come on.
It is, and I think that is key. We've talked about it over and over again, how important it is that you actually are really getting your information from websites that actually don't sell the leads to other agents, and therefore there's no incentive for them to actually change out the status, and therefore you have old inventory, and it's not really helpful in this type of market. So it is a great way to stay ahead. So
One of the other things that I was reading this morning is Steve Brown's got a really interesting article that he wrote yesterday, and it references Fitch Ratings. And Fitch Ratings is one of the big companies nationwide that rate the real estate markets in terms of viability. Are they sustainable? Are they not? And the DFW market, like we've talked about for a long time, this can't go on forever. They are also saying that we're not going to be able to sustain that much longer, that our market, this is according to their opinion, in 2019 was about 10 to 14% overvalued, which I don't think I agree with. This year they're saying that it could be as high as 30% overvalued. And even a broken clock's wrong twice a day. So
and then we also saw earlier last week where Brian Buffini interviewed Lawrence Yun, and it was talking about, is this a bubble, is it not a bubble? And he pretty much concurred with what we said 6 months ago, that it is not a bubble, that the only thing that's going to change is really the absorption rate.
Yeah, that will. And there's it's like nobody really knows what's going to happen. I think there's going to be something. Our economy is burned way too hot for way too long. There's got to be, it's just a normal part of a capitalistic market where you've got ups and you've got downs. And so, I think that's why a lot of people are making that decision to sell and move into rental property, or sell their own investment property just to try to cash out at the highest point possible.
It is. It was interesting when I very first got in the business. I went to a dinner one night, and there was an agent. And she was probably 10 years older than me. She had a ton of knowledge, and she had saved and saved and saved all of her money, and she would just buy these tiny little investment properties, and she bought a bunch of them up in Denton, up at North Texas. And she actually sold all of them, I don't know, probably 10 years ago when the market first kicked back up. And I think she sold 30 of her rental properties all at once. She's like, sell high, and when the market dips, you go back in and you buy them. And I thought, well, it still hadn't dipped.
Right.
So
she's still sitting there holding her money right now.
It is. Well, it is a great time to be out there in the market looking. I have noticed in Area 17, which is really Oak Lawn, that there's been a lot of units that have really started bubbling up, which is great. And also in Area 12, which is going to be East Dallas, there's been quite a few homes just within the last 24 hours that have shown up on the market that pretty much are at the starting price point. I would say they're anywhere between $378 and $550, and isn't that crazy to say that's the new 3.2, but it really is. In that area, there have been some really great ones that showed up on the market. So things to look at this weekend for sure.
Yeah, and we have some really great houses to talk about today.
Absolutely. Let's get started with that one.
Okay, our first one today is 4830 Cedar Springs, and this is unit number 3. It's a really cool townhome. This was built by Boulevard Builders back in 2005, and they built several communities around the Oak Lawn area. This was one that they did, I thought, a really amazing job on.
And it is such a great location right here on Cedar Springs. So you're within walking distance to some of the entertainment area, but not so close that you're going to be kept up at night to it. One of the other great things is that from a commuter standpoint, you have really great access to both Northwest Highway, but then if you want to get on Wycliffe, you can get over to, I'm sorry, I said Northwest Highway and meant the toll road. And then you can take Wycliffe and really get to 75. And one of the great things is that it's also really close to downtown.
It is. And these you can see the bus points along the way there. These have really great mass transit options. There are most of the sidewalks down through, or most of the streets have sidewalks on them. So you do have a good walkability. And like you said, you get down to the entertainment district on Cedar Springs, and there are restaurants, and there are casual restaurants and fine restaurants. You also have access to Lemon Avenue, which is just like Bob's Steakhouse down to Taco Bell. Like one end of the spectrum to the other.
Well, the other great thing is, and we would know this because we sold 2 complexes out in this area, but it is within like the 5-minute bubble to Parkland and UT Southwestern. So this is a really great place for both residents and for people who are doing their fellowship in this area. So this is a gated community, and it's got one entrance, one exit. And one of the great things about this is the way that they were configured is that they're not too stylish, they're not too modern, and they don't look like a Plano or a McKinney type home. And they have that soft soft, modern, traditional look.
They really do, and they've got brick that looks more like
Cinder blocks.
cinder block. Thank you, and it's a really nice mixture of some lighter brick, some darker brick that they use for the eyebrows, and then some of the cementia siding. And this is the downstairs bedroom. All of these bedrooms have plantation shutters in them.
Yeah.
So if you want these rooms to be blackout dark, you can definitely do that. The downstairs is one bedroom. It has a full bath, and then you also have access back to the outside of the property.
And when we put these slides together, we went ahead and put both bedrooms together. But this is the third bedroom, and it's actually on the third floor next to the master. And so you've really got a living space on the first floor and one on the third floor as well for bedrooms. This is the guest bedroom on the first floor as well. And you can see they've done a really great job. They've kept it simple and easy, which is really one of the key elements to a house that transitions for quite a while.
And this has a really good sized living area in it, and it has that very well-liked plan where the living room flows to the dining room, flows to a bar, flows into the kitchen. And they have these really great built-ins in the end there that are excellent for an entertainment center. Those doors being on the tracks the way they are can slide and cover different sections if you have different things that you want to be open.
And I wish I would have put those together so you could have seen the storage, because we did, and there's really great storage. And as you see here, it's a very easy transition from both the living area. This way that this is configured is it's really great, because if you wanted to have a small 2-person dinner up to a 10, you could do it based on the amount of space that you have here. You just got to have the seating. And it does also work into that kitchen. Now, one of the things that this kitchen has is a little different is it has a little bit higher bar height. So it has a stronger divide, which kind of a lot of people like, because it allows for you to have not always a spotless kitchen.
Yeah, that is exactly why I've heard people that like that built-up bar part. These do have granite countertops, the tile backsplash, the stainless steel appliances, has really fantastic wood floor, maple cabinetry, and lots of storage. This kitchen has more storage than many condos out there.
One of the things to point out is this also has gas. That is one of the tough things to find in a lot of these complexes. So as we all know, you got to have a bathroom on that second floor. This is a great little powder bath with the window enclosed. Nice little space right by the stairs. And then what we do is it's an easy transition to the third floor. And the third floor, this is a really surprise because we hadn't been in this floor plan before, but it has a really great large master bedroom. One of the things that you notice in the pictures is that all the ceilings have a substantial height, no matter what floor you're on, which is really great. So as you can see here, we've kind of pivoted, and we're now looking that first on the right-hand side, that slider barn door is to the outside hallway, and then the second one, that actually goes into the master bathroom.
And this is a really great plan because you have this little tucked in office space over there with a little private balcony on it that looks out over the front. Again, you've got the plantation shutters. This is that little private space around the corner there that I think is just fantastic.
Well, I like the way that the furniture is here because it lets you see how much space you have. And then from here, this is a really great unit because of the way that it lines up with the street there. So rather than look at just another building, you actually have a bit of a view. And as you pivot into the master bedroom, it's really great.
It really is. They've carried the maple cabinetry into here. This is a similar tile to what's downstairs in the kitchen that comes in. You do have double sinks. You've got 2 big walk-in closets there, separate tub, separate shower, and just a plain white tile interface on both of them.
And so what we're going to do now is we're going to transition downstairs, and you can see you've got additional brick on the backside, which is great. In the comments and description, it does say that the HVAC units were replaced. I'm not exactly sure what year, but when we were out there, we did notice that they appeared much newer than what we see a lot of times. You do have a little bit of area, and as we've talked before about turf grass, they went ahead and made that investment here, so you always have this really nice green space, perfect for having that little 4-legged friend that needs to run outside.
So 4830 Cedar Springs, unit number 3, is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 2-car garage, built in 2005. It's a little over 2,000 square feet. It's priced at $425,000, which brings it in about $208 a square foot. And we'd like to say thank you to Debbie Sherrington for letting us talk about her home.
Actually, this one is going to be Marjan Wolford.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm looking at the wrong sheet. So
he's looking at the next one,
Sorry.
but we're going to talk about this is Marjan. So thank you so much,
Thank
Marjan,
you,
for letting
Marjan.
us take a look at your property. In the comments below, you're going to be able to see a link, and that link is going to take you directly to this property. You can be able to look at the map, see where it actually is, and then see the pictures that we didn't show on the show. If this is something you'd like to see, or if there's something in that area that you'd like to see, please let us know, and we'd be happy to make that happen.
We sure will.
Absolutely.
So our next one today is in the cliff.
This is, I was excited to go see this one too.
I know. This is such a great street. This is such a little bitty cul-de-sac great street.
And the great thing about this is that this like a little pocket of mid-century modern homes over there. And so you, as we pulled into this, you were like, I sold that one right there. I don't even know if you knew when, years and years ago. You have to remember Jeff has been in the business for a while, decades, decades.
3 of them to be exact.
All right, so this is going to be, what's the address on this one, Jeff?
This is a 1687 Nob Hill Place.
And this is a great area. It is, let's see, this is right off of the Kessler Woods. And you would think that being this close to 30, that would be noise. But the topography, if you're not familiar with the cliff, the topography through here is amazing.
It really is. And when they redid I-30 through there, they put all of those really tall walls up that bounce all that noise away.
It's like this giant 30-foot of plexiglass above the highway that just kind of really does keep it quiet and peaceful in here. It's also really great walkways now. I think that it was this part of the plan that when Stevens golf course was redone, did that money also flow to create these walkways that are right there?
I think that it did. I think the walkways came much later on, but you do have access to great hiking paths or walking paths and biking paths over there. Like Weston said, this neighborhood's got some really cool topography, and this is a house that is situated on a cul-de-sac that is an alleyway that you have behind it there. So you are really, really private when you walk into this one.
Which I love, and I loved how mature the trees are over there. This is one of those ones you really have got to also, it's not just the house, but you're also taking in the neighborhood on this one, and it was great. So this is 1687 Nob Hill, and it is a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath, 2-car garage. And it's got those mid-century lines that so many people love these days.
Such a great drive up. I love the way that they have retained the sculpture, I guess is what you would call it, on the front porch.
The little screen, the wood screen?
Yeah.
It's great, and it's got the pitched and the gables that kind of extend past. The color palette is really fun. We got inside, and I was like, instantly, oh, I would really want to hang out with these people. They've done such a great job with the way that it fills and flows. And as you come in the front door, you've got the original hardwood floors, I believe, and they've just been sanded down to a natural color. And again, they've done a great job with cam lights, the way that the palette is nice, light, and bright. And I love that they had replaced all the windows.
It's really a charmer when you walk in and you see this kind of living space, dining space. You've got decent separation between this and the secondary living space. The dining room is really well defined. It's in the perfect place, I think.
Absolutely. And the other thing too is if you have a bigger party, flip it around, you can see it even more. And as you transition to the other side, you'll see that this room again has a lot of natural light. And they've done a really great job of creating different focal points. So we can see directly ahead, we have the TV, and here's that glass that comes in, but you also have that fireplace. That's an amazing extra in this room.
It really is. And this opens up to the kitchen. So you've got that kind of ebb and flow between whenever, especially when you're entertaining, because you could have people sitting at the bar, you could have people sitting there watching the game, you could have people sitting out on the patio. It just flows so well.
And so many times everybody ends up in the kitchen anyway when you have people over. And because of the way that this flows, whether you're sitting at this bar top that they have here or you're in the living room itself, it all just works out. And in the way that if you could have seen the way that the actual dining room configures to this, it's just right there on the other side from where as you can see right there, you can see the chairs. And so it's smartly laid out with the refrigerator there being built in. And I love the fact that they've not only built it in, but they've used it as an additional wall, and they've added that clock right there.
Yeah.
So it's just the way that this family has lived in this house and interpreted it just makes it feel like they were supposed to be there since the 1950s.
Granite countertops, gas range top, great storage in this house. This is the powder room that is just right around the corner from the kitchen, with an exterior window there with some natural light coming in. And this is the master bedroom, which was, I think, an add-on at some point, but you pointed out that they did such a fantastic job with the roof line on it.
So when we stepped out and we looked back at the house from the outside of the pool, we noticed that it carried the same roof line. And that's one of the key elements, both flooring transition and roofing transitions, to make it not feel like an add-on. And I think they nailed it 100%. One of the great things about this bedroom is the amount of natural light. You're getting up in the morning and it's wonderful. And as you transition over here, the picture doesn't quite do it justice. I think we were both amazed at how big this bathroom is. I wish there had been one element on the countertop right there to show you the scale, because that is a lot of space.
It really is. And then that transitions on into the area that has the 12 by 12 tile, the shower stall on the left-hand side, separate tub on the right. And this is an absolutely amazing closet.
It is an amazing closet. I was shocked at how big it was. And one of the things that I love is that they've added natural light in here. Now, the natural light is raised up, so again, you get privacy just like they did above the tub. It's been raised, so you get a lot of privacy, but you get the light.
And this is one of the secondary bedrooms that's on the other wing of the house. You've got access out into the backyard there. Again, the windows have been replaced. These are the casement crank-out windows, which are really cool, super energy efficient. This is the bathroom that is in that secondary bedroom. So you've got an ensuite bath. You've got 2 ensuite baths in this house.
Yep. And the great thing too is just down the hall from here, we've got our third bedroom, and it looks out over the front. And again, this is, if you love a room with lots and lots of natural light, this is one of those ones. You can see there's almost 4 windows here, and that is a ton of natural light. This makes a great office. You don't feel like you're enclosed. Given the pandemic, that's a great thing.
It really is. And this is one of the vintage bath, or the vintage bath, that has been untouched, and I am so happy it's been untouched.
So in the little border right there, we looked to see what that was, and that is a antelope laying down. And to me, it looks Art Deco. And I don't know if I thought Art Deco was the 30s, but anyway. Here's a look from the backyard. When we were looking, that is the garage there in the back portion. And we were standing on that and being able to look down at the roof line, and got a really good feel for how well and how continuous this house is.
And this really has great living spaces outside. So you've got the area where you have the table is, you've got the area where the different chairs are, you've got all of that seating that's around the pool. And this is just really, I mean, it just screams the summer party.
And the other thing you don't realize is there's quite a few flower beds around here. So you've got purple Jew, and one of them, a raised one around a brick stone. And then over there on the left-hand side where the blue bottles are, there's lots of places, even though that doesn't feel like it, lots of places to plant.
So 1687 Nob Hill Place, just a really wonderful property, 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bath. 2-car garage built in 1954, a little under 2,400 square feet, priced at $747, and that is about $312 a square foot. And this time I would like to say thank you to Debbie Sherrington for letting us talk about her home.
It's a wonderful home in a wonderful area and a great street.
It really is. So if you'd like more information on this house, if you'd like to see some of the pictures that we didn't get to show you today, just click on the link below. And if you'd like to see the house, reach out to us. We'd be happy to show it to you. And with that, we'll be right back. There are lots of ways to keep up with us. Visit and like our Facebook page to watch us live and get updates about future show topics. Also, visit our Instagram account where you can see the latest homes we have for sale. You can also check out our website at updikepugh.com, where you can create customized searches of active and sold homes that you may find of interest. If you'd like to know how much your home is worth, visit homeprice.fyi and you can get a price instantly. Just enter your address and a couple of other pieces of information, and we will email you a price. If you are on the go and podcasts are better for you, our second segments are available on iTunes and Spotify. Last of all, you can reach out to us by phone or text at 214-377-2223. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the second segment of episode 139 of Sold with Updike Pugh.
And today we're going to talk about generators and are they right for you in your house? I think it became incredibly important both in February and what was it? Was it the beginning of June?
It was the beginning of June, yeah. That there
When
were
ERGOT sent out that cute little text that said, we'd like for everybody in Texas to conserve your electricity. So we started thinking about, well, okay, if you're going to ask us to conserve, well, what are we going to do? And we put together a really great idea list and reasons for getting into a generator and what could be the benefit for it.
Absolutely. This is one of those things that I've had so many people ask me about because they're looking at it from the perspective of, is this an investment that I'm going to get money back on? And every time it's absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
I don't think that everything that you can do to a house is a dollar to dollar. I almost know that it's not. But I really feel like if you put a $4,000 generator in, that is a $4,000 value add.
Absolutely.
So,
the typical house loses power once or twice a year for at least 3 hours. So it loses power more than that, but at least 3 hours, once or twice a year, the typical house. So, I know many of our friends went for several days without power. So, this is typical, this is average. So,
and it's different. I think that February really kind of put it into perspective in what can happen when your power goes out and it's cold. It's much different than when it's hot. They both have
Yes.
their differences, and I think that it's so important as climate change does continue that we take steps to make sure that our houses are protected and our investments are protected.
absolutely. So, if you're doing this in the winter, you've got to deal with frozen pipes.
Right.
You can deal with loss of food from refrigerators, which can get expensive very quickly.
And I think that that's the big thing that we're talking about is because in the winter, when you do have your pipes burst or you do have your hot water break, your toilet can crack, we've heard as well. These are elements that had the power stayed on, had the heat stayed on, the chances would have been less that this would have been such a large catastrophe in some
Yeah.
cases.
And there were, a lot of people will run out and get emergency portable generators. And, they're the types of generators that a lot of construction people use. They run on regular gas,
Diesel.
or diesel. And, you've got to go out and manually start them. But, and you also, there's a certain type of interconnection that you have to have in order for that to be into part of your true electric system that a lot of people don't do on the emergency portables.
And the other thing too is on those portable ones, if it's say that it's a rain or it's a tornado and something like that has that effect, getting outside and getting that done while that effect is happening is almost impossible at times. If not, you're just going to be completely drenched. It's going to be quite dangerous at times, especially, depending on how it fires up. So I think these are elements to take into consideration when you're trying to find out which one is right for your house.
Yeah, the more permanent ones, I think, provide a different level of safety because, you're not dealing with all the cords dangling around like you have with
Right.
the portables. You are, you have to you're dealing less with the opportunity of fire because those do have more of a fire opportunity than the permanent type generators do.
And the thing is that now that they can connect into the direct gas line, there will always be that source of energy, so they'll be able to run. The other thing too is that a majority of these that actually connect into your gas lines have a system that does a test, and so it'll run a test once a month to make sure that everything is functioning well. A lot of them now actually sync up to the Wi-Fi, and so therefore they'll let you know that the test was completed and if everything went as it was supposed to.
And these are one of the cool things that I love about these is their automatic start.
Yes.
So your house your power goes down within a matter of 4 or 5 seconds. The generator starts back up or
Yes.
starts up, and your electricity comes back almost instantly.
And I think as you're doing the research on these, one of the things that you'll find is that this would be one of those times to buy more than what you actually think you need, because you need to do the research and find out how much your HVAC pulls, how much your refrigerator pulls. These are the big ticket items, but at the same time, you're going to have to actually have other things like lights, be able to run the computers. Are you charging your phone? And it just really does begin to add up. And without enough, a large enough generator, it becomes difficult.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's Generac that has a really cool product on their website that you can go put in the number of air conditioners you have, the number of heaters you have, the size of your air conditioner, because that's going to come into play. If you've got, 2 1-ton units or you've got 2 5-ton units, there is a usage difference that they've got to calculate. But it'll tell you exactly which one of their models is the one that you need.
And I think that's so important, just because as we were doing the research, it's just not the same when you buy the smaller unit and the house doesn't quite all the way come back.
Yeah.
One of the things too that you and I began to talk about is how in real estate we see more and more houses become multi-generational. And as homes become more multi-generational, there's different equipment that, a child needs, or maybe an elderly parent. And these medical devices also are going to need to be thought of when you're putting them on the generator. So again, it's one of those other reasons to actually get the generator in the first place.
It really is. There are a couple of fuel types that you would have a choice from. I think if you're anyone that's in the city of Dallas that's got access to natural gas, then that would be the route to go, because the other options are diesel and propane, and then you've got to figure out where to bury your tank and how to keep it full. And there's just if you don't have access to natural gas, that might be your only other option. But
Correct.
It does seem like natural gas would be the one to head toward.
Yep, and I think we're going to be able to give you a link in the comments below that you can click on. There's some great ideas out there for these as well. I would definitely say that as things continue in Texas, this would be something that people should really think about before they catch on too much. Just like buying a heater in the winter, they're more expensive than they are in the summer, and vice versa for fans.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think this is one of those things that you would have the opportunity to potentially use at multiple times during the year, because in the summer, if there is too much draw on the power grid and they start with rolling blackouts,
Right.
this is going to help during the winter months when we have the issues then, and then during storms also. I mean, I've lost more power in storms like windstorms and tree lines going down, and I'm on the end of a power line, so I'm one of the first ones to go out if that line gets struck, and I'm one of the last ones to get it back if so. I mean, I went out of town one time, and I had some friends that were staying over at the house watching the dogs. And the day I left, they had a windstorm that knocked the power out, and it was gone out the entire time that I was out of town.
That was not me.
No.
I was not sitting in that house that day.
So just from a kind of a cost perspective, I did an analysis on my house. My home's about 2,500 square feet. I've got 3 air conditioners, 3 refrigerators, and then I factored in some of the other, the other options that I think it was Generac that I went to. The unit that my house would need would be the 27 kilowatt hour generator, and I think the quote I got was somewhere about $7,000 installed. And these are things that you can get financing for very easily.
Interesting. I would say this is a very strong candidate for you in the near future.
Yeah, I would agree. So I hope that's been helpful. If you have any other questions, certainly reach out to us. We'd be happy to talk to you.
And if anybody else is curious as to why Jeff has 3 AC units and 3 refrigerators on a 1,500 square foot home, you're not the only one. Well, with that, we're going to sign off and say thank you so much for joining us. And just remember, we want to be your realtors for life.